And we'll get it started. So, guys, my name is Prophecy. Welcome to Breaking Kayfabe. I have my co-host here, Helbert, and our first guest, popping of the cherry, Adastam, as he informed us not 5 minutes
Yeah.
ago. Welcome.
I didn't inform you not to, but thanks. Nice to be here.
Yeah.
I
Well,
mean, just right at the start, we're changing the perception of these players already. I mean, now we know what your actual nickname is supposed to be.
yeah.
And Wilson was right, which is a first.
Hashtag Wilson was right. That's going to be something to I think make the Twitter waves today or tomorrow maybe. But yeah, I mean, guys, Adastam, well known in South African circles for being one of the hardest carries in the scene, obviously. Recently between teams, obviously, and you'll be moving to Ecstasy. You'll see him in the green and black very, very soon. But this is a series, and let's get going. Adam, how did you start in Dota 2 in particular? I know you've bounced around between the game that shall not be named, but how did you start as a Dota 2 player?
The game that shall not be named.
Please name
Even
it.
I don't
Oh,
know
please
which
name
one
it.
you're referring to.
Well, I mean,
Not
it's HOTS. Helbo just doesn't like knowing.
I
He
thought.
was forced to become a HOTS
I
caster.
thought you meant. Okay, I thought you meant like a particular Dota 2 game. I was like,
No.
what?
Dota 2,
Okay,
Dota 2 we can
so
at least mention. Yeah, so go ahead.
well, I basically started Dota 2 a few years ago with some high school friends, and they invited me to like a LAN at their house, and then that's when I first started Dota, created an account, all that, and then I kind of started playing on my own, and from there I created my first team, which was actually called Noobs Are Us, the Noob Squad,
That
which
name
no
rings a
one
bell,
knows of
actually.
it. Don't worry.
Like no, like the name rings a
um,
bell. I mean, we were trolling, around the bottom dregs of DGL for a couple of years, so we're fairly aware of some obscure names down there.
yeah. So then from
Yeah.
there, I actually got noticed by Demonic to go to his team in KKNP in Prem.
Yeah.
And then I guess things just went from there. It's quite a lucky break for me to get noticed quite early on. Yeah, and because back then Prem was like the Masters, not
Yeah.
is now. So being in Prem a few years ago was essentially the same thing. So for me to jump from like the lowest of the low to Prem was quite lucky for me. And then I guess one thing led to another and whatnot.
Yeah, because I mean, I remember. I think I was just trolling through some old DGL pics from I think it was 2014, and you were playing for EN back then, were you not? Was it EN?
Yeah,
It was EN.
yeah, but that was only for the DGC.
Mm.
They only invited me to come for the Rage LAN.
Oh, I mean, not bad. What did you
But
guys
yeah,
come? I think it was second, if I remember correctly.
yeah, we came second next to BVD Blue, I think it was back then,
Yeah, that then
because
became
I think
Harmony.
Emotion played in the NGL.
Yeah, something like that.
So yeah,
Oh,
so we
I,
came
I, I
second.
remember two casters that were involved in that. Yeah, it was a good tournament. You should have gone to that one.
Yeah, well, I mean, the next year he did join the tournament that you cast at Rage, and that was the NGL itself.
Really.
And then, I mean,
How long have you been recording for? There's already been two HOTS references.
I thought you said the game that shall not be named.
well,
If
I'm not
this
going
was
to
Harry
name it,
Potter,
but,
you'd be naming Voldemort all the time.
but
You're
I mean,
not very good at that game,
yeah, I mean, here's
Sean.
the
No,
thing.
they're not referencing people. Adam, you can be as good as you want at HOTS, but we're done here.
But you didn't do anything.
Yeah, so I mean, like, what was it that actually led you to move into HOTS? I mean, obviously you'd come second the year before. I mean, maybe not the strongest of pools, but I mean, you were certainly an up-and-coming player, a guy well known in the scene, and certainly somebody that would have been on a couple of the bigger teams' radars, particularly someone like BVD, who were, they would eventually swap a couple of players out.
Back then, I don't think I was actually regarded as very good at all. Because remember, I was just subbing for Ian, so I don't think I was like on most people's radar. So then after that, obviously, I was released from Ian, and no other team showed like any interest in me at all. So, and that was actually like the month HOTS came out. So I was like, oh, okay, over Dota, may as well pick up a new game. Then I kind of just fell in love with HOTS. It was an amazing game, and yeah, I was far above the community in terms of skill because I think I just played it way too much, and it was new. So yeah, then I played obviously HOTS at 2015 NGL. Then I got over that game. Then I got invited to go to APG, and then that's when I started Dota again.
Yeah.
So, out of curiosity, you mentioned that when you went from Dota to HOTS initially, you weren't really on anybody's radar. So, do you think that was a case of you weren't as good as you are now, and therefore it was justified, or was it just more of a case that it was difficult to get this sort of recognition playing for potentially weaker sides in general?
I think back then it was, if I had to put it in a way, it was very click orientated, where if you weren't like best friends with the top people, you weren't going to make it kind of thing. So regardless of whether you have the skill, I feel like they wanted to play with friends rather than potential up and comers, if that makes sense. So
Yeah,
I
no, it
feel
makes
that
perfect
was
sense.
quite a deciding factor in it, because I didn't really know anyone in Prem back then besides like Demonic and like a few other people. So obviously it was hard for me.
Yeah, I mean,
I
You
needed
say
to
KKP,
network
what
more.
year was this? I
2014.
mean, well, I
I
mean,
think
were you playing KKP in 2013, or was it already the
I
2014
think
season?
either at the end of 2013 or beginning of 2014. I can't remember. I'd have to. Does DGL still log from back then?
could be, but I don't know. It's
Yeah, somewhere one of those two times. Like I can't remember exactly. So either towards the end of 2013 or beginning of 2014.
Because something I've always found a little bit a mystery about you is that many of the players that we currently see on the current circuit, either they're fairly old school, and then I played against them when I was still an active player, and a lot of the players I played with in sort of fun teams and whatnot whilst they were climbing the ranks. It was kind of weird because I don't remember ever playing with or against you, which makes you a bit of an enigma to me. But were you always playing as Adastam, or is it possible that I have played against you and you just have a different
I
name?
only changed my name to Adastam when I started in I think KKNP or because before just after KKNP I went to IFG. If you remember IFG
Right.
back then, so I played with IFG for a little bit. So I think only once I moved to IFG I changed my name to Adastam. Back then I was known as SAO. That's what my nick I used to use, SAO. So only changed it I think when I went to IFG. So
Right, okay.
Oh,
I mean, this is all about you, but you can all blame Adastam, by the way, for the creation of me being a caster, because literally it was getting stomped by IFG in some sort of scrim or something that I decided that it was time to stop playing competitive. And I think there was a Ricky involved or something. It wasn't fun.
there's always a Ricky involved.
yeah, I mean, I would say that you're one of the few carries in South Africa that's known to use slightly off meta picks. Like you're obviously well known for the ultra hard carries, something like Luna. I know your AM is pretty solid as well, but you've been the one that's. I mean, the stats have said it is that you're the only one who seems to have any idea how to play Vengeful Spirit carry in South Africa at the moment. Have you always been like into the slightly different things? Because obviously, like I said, you do have the normal hard
Slightly different things.
slightly different heroes, like slightly off meta carries as such.
Well, remember this year I haven't been drafting. I wasn't the drafter for APG, so. But I feel I'm comfortable on almost any carry you give me. So that is just the way ACG wanted to draft the lineup with like a more active carry early on. So it wasn't like a late game carry. So that's when he started drafting me the Venge. I feel I feel comfortable playing most carries. Obviously, I prefer to have that carry that can 1v9 kind of thing. But I mean that's obviously more like pub style. But in clan matches, I'm willing to adapt to almost anything, and yeah.
And I mean, have you always been a carry? Because I mean, with the ability to play these, slightly weird picks and all the rest that we have seen, have you always played the carry, or were you at a stage like a mid or a support when you started?
I actually only started playing carry last year when I joined APG. Before then, so from I think 2012 to 2016, I was playing mid only.
Yeah.
That's the only role I ever played, and then last year I started playing carry for the first time.
Okay, and then obviously APG already had ACG in the mid lane, so.
Yeah, so that's why I went to carry because they already had a mid.
Well, fair enough.
So who's the better mid? Who'd win? 1v1, ACG versus Adastam. Grudge match.
But I think we've had like 4 1v1s already. We have won each one.
Nice. There we go. That's what we expect from our first guest here. Nothing but the finest.
Exactly.
Nothing but
So-
the chop dog.
So, let's discuss something on this tangent of sort of playing a wide variety of heroes. Let's discuss phalanx stacks. How do you play? Were you guilty of pooling up with that party?
For
The
rank
terror-
stacks.
Yeah. Were you part of the 5 that used to run around and crush everybody?
The phalanx stack is actually not as try hard as it used to be.
Oh, that's
Right.
Back like a few years ago, he would constantly pick up Undyne and Bristleback off lane, like every game. So that was super try hard. Now he's actually started randoming, so whatever he gets, he plays. So that's not as try hard as he used to be. But I am guilty of playing with that guy.
Yeah.
I think we have 2,000 games together in
Yeah, you were.
pub. So
Yeah, that's
it's
Right, so
definitely
does that
not
make
played
you
with.
Does that make you the second best pudge in the SA? That, according to unreasonable stats, that mean nothing.
Yeah, me pudge, sure.
Well, yeah.
I mean, like you're
I guess if you've ruined a couple of people's nights, then I know as a solo queue, I've run into phalanx stacks more than I'd like to remember. Fun was not had
That's when you just report him and get him an LP.
every time. Every time.
shouldn't be too hard. It is.
In fact, I think that's where we should start. We
Pardon?
just convince everybody right now. Whenever you see phalanx, you need to report phalanx. And,
Yeah, that's what I
we'll
even
make
have
the
in my
community a better
Twitter.
place.
Even in my Twitter description, at the end it says, please all report phalanx. Like, I'm trying to spread the word, guys.
Nice. I think this is good. I'm going to share it or something.
Yeah. So just let's move ahead to last year. I mean, APG last year was, I'd say, clearly the third best, but you guys always seem to have, like, you'd play BVD close one game and then you guys would just get like absolutely slammed in the next 2 or so, and it would be like, funnily enough, we almost never saw you guys go up against White Rabbit Gaming in tournaments. You just seem to constantly hit the wall that was BVD. Like you
BVD,
guys
yep.
it just felt like, it's like, oh, it's semi-finals. Who's APG got? Probably BVD, and then it's like 2 days later, yeah, it's BVD. What
Yeah,
was it like? What
someone
was it
had-
about those guys that your team in particular seemed to struggle against so much?
Bravado.
Yeah.
Well, Bravado was just the best team at the moment. I think any team would struggle against them last year in the SA scene. They were quite far ahead of us, especially at the beginning of last year. They were destroying every team they played, and the skill gap was quite significant. But I think towards the end of the year, we caught up quite a lot. Obviously, we did beat them in the winner bracket finals, but then they came back and beat us in the lower bracket. So we did prove that our skill had caught up quite significantly. But yeah, every LAN, I think we versed Bravado like second or something.
Yeah.
So we'd always be like, oh, guys, we're starting this tournament in the losers bracket again.
Well, I mean, there was. I mean, you just mentioned it there at the end. Is that DGC last year? Basically, you guys were the ones that you might not have been, the kings at the end of the day, but you certainly helped set up that final where BVD eventually lost the top spot. With that, I mean, it was unreal. I still remember Hari saying, like, he walked away from the game saying, like, BVD's won this, and he came back and he's like, wait, APG's won? Like, how did that work? So, I mean, what was kind of going through your guys' minds when you beaten BVD for the first time on LAN at DGC? I mean, you guys must have been super, super stoked at that point.
Yeah, incredibly so. There's also the interview. I was actually shaking, like I couldn't stand still. I was so excited. Like even when Demonic asked to do an interview with me, I was like, just give me a few minutes. I just need to walk around and let some excitement out. Like I was honestly like at one stage, I think I couldn't even stand. I was just like jumping up and down because like I was so excited and stoked to have actually done it. Because obviously, everyone in the SA scene wants to like beat Bravado, and since I've been playing for like 5 years and that's never happened, it's kind of like reached that milestone. So yeah, everyone was super amped. I think there's a video of it even, just like I think I might have kicked my chair over by mistake and stuff.
I think fairly justified.
By mistake.
given
By
the-
mistake.
I mean, like, unfortunately, obviously, that then led into you guys playing, what is it, something like 3 series back to back on the day, and that, like, you guys had just beaten BVD, and then you get told, oh well, you guys now have to go play White Rabbit Gaming in like the winners bracket final. How like what was going through your guys' minds after that? Because I mean, I could see it on your faces. You guys seemed to be absolutely wrecked. I mean, the emotions must have been a roller coaster after that.
Definitely. After playing such like I think we had the worst seeding in the DGC final there because we first played Carbon and it was a hard matchup, and then Bravado and then WRG. I don't think it could get any harder than that. So after beating BVD, we were totally like emotionally drained in a way, and then being told you have to go play WRG straight after that. Like we didn't even have time for lunch that day. Like I didn't even have like 10 minutes to go outside and get some food and just sit down and eat. Like we're constantly busy and whatnot. So I think management could have obviously been a lot better. But yeah, playing WRG after being so exhausted and whatnot was kind of just the end of it.
Yeah.
Then as you saw, it was just like a 2-0 wipe.
Yeah, you guys kind of just it just.
As I recall, that was
fell over.
But that was due to some sort of Counter-Strike issue as well, right? As I recall, there was some issue with one of the Counter-Strike teams not being available or something, and they ended up pushing Dota twice. That's one of those things that never really sits well with me when you have that sort of external factor. You know, it's not a case of, oh, we need to get so many Dota games done throughout the day. It's, well, this other title that's technically unrelated to you in any way, it's having a problem, and therefore, you know, sorry, go play, which, you know, effectively was shown to be the best team in the country at the time. Directly after beating the team that was kind of known as the best country in the time. Can't be easy.
Yeah.
No, definitely.
Okay, I mean, so obviously you have left APG now, and you've signed with Ecstasy. We're just waiting for the transfer period to go through. So
transfer window, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, just like, well, what are your goals with Ecstasy? Obviously, I mean, I think it's unreasonable to be aiming right for the top at the early stages. But what are you looking forward to doing with the Ecstasy boys? Sorry, in the coming months.
Well, you said it's unrealistic to hit #1. I think it's totally realistic. I wouldn't have joined them if I didn't think if we had potential to be #1 at some stage.
Yeah.
I think the guys are extremely talented, and I think obviously not immediately because we just joined, but I think in a few months' time with some practice, we have the potential to be #1. I'm not saying we're going to be #1, but that's obviously what we're aiming for, and everyone in the team knows it. So yeah, so we hope to have a good performance this year and get that #1 spot on the podium.
Yeah, well, I mean,
that's a scary team as well. Yeah. I mean, Dota and Die is on support, and if you
no, Dota and Die is on offlane.
Is it off? Okay, sorry.
Yeah, Scarnet's going to support.
Where did I get that misconception from then?
No, there was when Ecstasy first released their post, they just made a mistake at the beginning. So I corrected it. So if you really look at the post, it's fine.
Okay. All right, so it's not actually my fault. Okay, good.
No.
Right,
You did this. But that to me is always that to me is one of those players that is actually been pretty scary for a while now. But I kind of feel that I don't really like comparing players to players and whatnot, but he's always kind of felt like a pocket castaway to me. Similar to Hero Pool. He used to play mid, obviously, and but he's always been quite scary, but a bit overshadowed by good old Travis. But with the right sort of support structure around him, like that's a very, very powerful player. And I think somebody like you coming to that team, who obviously has a wealth of experience now, probably can, almost like help lead the guys. Which I guess brings me to what I was curious about is, you're obviously new to the side, but I would imagine you're the most experienced. Have you sort of stepped into like a bit of a leadership role? Has that not really been a requirement? Where does it leave you?
Well, we've only played I think 2 games together so far, and obviously I can't officially transfer till the transfer window opens, so that's still a bit undecided. So I can't comment too much on that. I can't really comment too much. So I'm gonna have to see how that goes and how we grew as a team and stuff and whatnot. And yeah, I can't. Sorry about that. I can't say too much about that at the moment.
Yeah, fair enough.
All right, so I mean, Adam, APG was well known as. We actually got a lot of grief because we called you guys a very pubby team for quite a while, and
Yes, I know this.
and obviously like it was unfair, and I know
I
specifically towards.
wonder why.
It's like
No.
like I remember specifically towards the end of the year when you guys had actually gotten to that point where I wouldn't say that you were playing like necessarily, you know, the like hard meta lines. You guys were never really that type of team, but you were always willing to experiment. What was the thoughts behind that? I mean, obviously you said you were you know, at least drafter at times. Were you guys just looking for something to um, throw people off, or was it just that like those were your best heroes?
My drafting style is, I think, a bit different to quite a lot of people because I look at the meta, right, and I see what's good and not, but I also try to think about what the next step is, what the next meta might be. See, a lot of drafters, they only draft according to what the current meta is, which you should do, I guess. I'm not telling you not to, but what I try to do is I think of the next thing that can possibly become the meta, and I try to draft those kind of things, if that makes sense. So I'm trying to be one step ahead instead of, I say trying because it doesn't always work out.
Yeah, no. No, I mean,
So
forging your
I'm
own
just
path,
trying to,
essentially.
yeah, so I'm trying to, I was a drafter who try to do those kind of things instead of just being like, okay, if pro teams don't draft this, it's bad, we're not picking it. I don't have that mentality of like, so I'll experiment and whatnot as I see fit.
Have you considered the support Viper?
Every game I think about that. I used to offer it as punishment for phalanx. If we dive too much, I'd be like, next game you're getting a support Viper, and then you'd be like, okay, I'll calm down.
So at least it has some effective role in esports. Punishment.
As a threat for a sport.
Because no one likes Viper. That hero is so boring.
It really is. And because, by the way, it was a thing, right? In Dota 1, Sport Viper was very much a thing. And I had to play it. And it is the only fun you ever get in that game is when you're sort of harassing people in the very early laning stages. And then those games used to last anywhere between 60 and 90 minutes on average. And the rest of it was just, I'm very bored, tossing out my ulti at things to slow them down. It wasn't great fun.
That long is probably because the Viper wanted to keep the laning stage going, because it's the only time he felt decent.
Oh man, I wanted that lane stage to last forever. I just wanted to everyone stay in their lanes and just progressively sort of move back and forth until one throne eventually fell. You know, would have been ideal. But no, unfortunately not. But this isn't about me.
So, I mean,
Adam, do you have any thoughts on any sort of random heroes that you'd like to see in the meta?
Are you asking me?
Yeah. It's all about you, man.
Okay, sorry. I thought the way it is on Skype, you two are like looking directly at each other. So.
That's what we always do. Just stare into each other's eyes longingly. You're so far away, Sean and Jasper.
Heroes are, well, obviously my favorite hero that I'd love to see in the meta is Windrunner, not Wind Ranger. No, I'm joking. That has been my favorite all-time hero, but currently it's in a bad situation. It will place in the meta, so that's obviously something I'd love to see. Also, what else? Interesting things. Veno mid would be quite interesting to see once again. But I mean, this is
oh, because we all want that meta back. good old death ball.
So tell me, Adam, what do you think of the patch? Obviously, there's a lot of guys, mostly on the sub 3K scrubs on Reddit, saying that they hated the new talents and all the rest. What did you feel about the change on 7.0 to give us the talents on every hero?
Oh, I actually made a post about this on my fan page. Pre 7.0, I made like a whole lengthy thing on my thoughts and whatnot. Obviously, but this was going to sound very biased for me though. But because I played HOT so much and I love the game, I extremely love the idea of talents. The fact that it brings in so much diversity into the game, as in you can build your hero completely differently. HOTS obviously did a much better job of it because there are 4 talents at each level instead of just Dota with 2. So going into the 7.00 knowing their talents, I was completely overwhelmed. I loved the idea so much, and I actually called it on my page. Lone Druid is going to be the next best thing in his normal range form. I actually have it there, so I call in the meta ahead once again.
I recall something like that actually. So I'm going to vouch for you in this one. I think you did in fact call the loneliest druid before it was really recognized as the loneliest druid.
Yeah. I actually thought it would be the most OP thing in this meta, and it's proving, alongside I think Slardar, to be one of the most deadliest forces to be reckoned with.
Yeah.
So
could we see a lot of Adastam loneliest druid in the near future?
Loneliest druid. I'd like to, but I don't think they're going to give me the opportunity. Maybe they do, but Lone Druid is just a hard hero to deal with. I think there's very few things that deal with it efficiently, like a Weaver, PA, and stuff. But Weaver I see has been banned quite a lot, so people just tend to just Like when a new hero comes into the meta, right? People aren't experienced playing against it. Yes, exactly. That's like when Monkey King came out. How many rampages did that thing get? Because people don't know how its skills works. That's the same thing when a new hero comes back into the meta, because you don't often play against it in pubs and whatnot. And now its bold has changed, so people haven't had as much experience playing against it. So it will do a lot better than it should. But I think it's coming down to the stage where it's like normalizing now.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
So heroes and all the rest, and they're starting to adapt.
Yeah. But for the last few months, it was just crashing.
Yeah. So tell me, Adam, are you guys going to be entering into the major qualifiers?
The Kiev major qualifiers.
Yeah.
Why'd you say that with such a smirk on your face?
No, because I'm genuinely
you evil bastard.
No, I'm genuinely interested. Obviously, you guys, like you're unable to play with the full team at the moment. As
Tenchi.
Yeah.
Hi, Tenchi.
Tenchi might just through the background here, but
Hola, how's it going?
Tenchi.
Hey, who knew? Yeah.
But yeah.
Say hello to the fans.
Yeah, indeed. So, like, are you guys going to attempt the major qualifiers, or do you think you're still a bit too new as a team for that to maybe work out as you hope?
We haven't actually discussed it at all, so me saying my opinions now, I'd hope to, but again, we haven't discussed it in the slightest, so okay. I'll leave it at that. I want to compete. Obviously, every opportunity to compete against teams that are better than you is the best thing you can do, because then you learn new stuff, and that's how you improve significantly. So even if you don't make it, it's still very good as a team to play against like such top skilled players in a way. So
true. So I mean, again, Adam, you guys, you were known as like one of the sort of clowny carries in South Africa, even though you were like, you were like the ultra carry of your teams. But your teams were known for their clowny moments.
You cut me deep right here.
So, like, what's the funniest moment you've ever had in a game?
Wow, okay, I got to think on this one. You could have asked me this beforehand, and I would have thought about this. Yeah.
Please prepare, you have the hardest question of your life coming up.
I think it was the one game I was playing. When I first started out with Phalanx, I had another friend called Zestort, Andre.
Yeah.
I think, Albert, you might remember him.
Yeah,
so I played against him. I think my funniest moment was I played against him in the one DGL game, because we weren't currently on the same team. So I played against him, but we were very good mates. So what we did was we both decided to go mid and just dance around each other. So both teams smoked up, and they're like taking it all seriously, and we're like, no, I'm going mid. So we both eventually ran mid, and we just did circles around each other while both teams were like smoking up and trying to get. I think that would be the funniest moment for me.
That is actually pretty amazing.
That definitely sounds like something.
I love it when it happens sort of by a gentleman's agreement in like a pubby or something. I mean, I do ridiculous nonsense like that when I can, right? So I'll see somebody who's like AFK or something, and instead of killing him, I'll sort of run in a circle around and whatnot. And sometimes that person comes back to his computer, and then he starts following me, and we're just running circles around one another, and it's fantastic. And of course, there's always someone though. There's always somebody who has to ruin the fun for everybody and toss out that disable and kill me, and just it's unreasonable. Fun was being had.
Yeah, the Phalanx stack does that quite often. We do this thing called like kidnap someone. So what you do is you like try to get Batrider and plus 4 other people, and you try like get enough napalms on the person and then surround them, but never kill the person. So you just kind of like kidnap them and keep them there.
Peace out.
We've done this ashamed to say we've done this a few times and killed some people's nights. But most people find it funny. They just like start all chatting to us.
Alright,
There's nothing fun about flying sucks. It hurts. It hurts deep inside. You're gonna sleep angry.
there's nothing fun.
It
about
hurts you
other
the
end
next
of it.
day.
Still recovering actually. I haven't played against one in months and still just rough times.
Yeah, so I mean, one of the things, obviously, I mean, you're one of the most active guys on social media, particularly Twitter, in South African esports at the moment, and a lot of it was about your quest for 6K. So, are you still sitting at 6K MMR then, or have you dropped off from?
Just to clarify with some people, it's 6K party. Because I've been getting some hate.
Why am I not surprised?
I didn't realize 6K party was a bad thing, but apparently it is a bad thing. Who knew? My solo is just above 5.5, so I'm trying to get my solo at 6K. So that'll hopefully take me another month or so. Hope. But yeah, I'm working towards it. But yeah, it was great still getting 6K party, because even though some people will judge that, a lot of party games you play, most of my party games are actually harder than my solo, because I've played against the likes of like Miracle and Mind Control, and they play in party, right? And their party MMR is like 5.5 to 6K. So you're playing with like 8K, 7K people with the same party MMR as you. So it allows you in a way to play against better people than what you currently are. Obviously not all the time, but I've realized I get more exposure to them by playing party MMR. So haters gonna hate.
Oh well, I mean,
They're gonna beg for invites.
I think on the list of most hated players in South Africa, you're probably fairly low down though. So there's a couple of guys, some ex-players in South Africa that probably have a lot more hate. One of them is actually in this chat right now. So.
I know Howard hates my guts.
No.
No.
I have a soft spot for APG. Phalanx though. was okay. I was previously.
Who hates Phalanx? The guy's like
not really. Phalanx was mean to in a puppy once though. I wasn't happy with him because he was on a. Yeah, I know, right? Because he was not smurfing. He just changed his name in game, and I was legitimately asking some. Welcome to puppy stories. This is bad. Literally just asking so many nice questions. Sort of, well, why are you so bad? And Phalanx stood up for the guy and was pretty mean to me. Said something like, "Why are you so bad at casting?" I was like, "What? Whose side are you on? We're supposed to be like this of loyalty between us."
I think he's just joking, to be honest.
No, it's a long time ago. There's any bad blood
on himself. It's like he's like, "Why are you so bad?" It's like, dude, you're waiting. Like they're begging for that comeback to come your way.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
I've learned as a shoutcaster, you don't say anything to puppies. That's the correct response.
Even as a player, you should never try to respond, because you just there's no good that can come of it.
Have you got any really rough slams?
Really?
Like rough slams. Have you ever had somebody say something like, I don't know, it's something mean about like a Masters performance or anything like that when you're in puppies?
For the most part, no. I'd say 95% of it is positive, but there have been quite a few people that have obviously tried to slam me as hard as they can. I've had one guy that I'm not going to name people, but I had one guy on Facebook message me extensively about how he's going to find me at the next LAN and make sure I'm dealt with in a way. So, like, I get shit like that once in a while, but I've realized it's because, not to be mean, but because they're bad at the game. So, I don't know, they need to take their frustration out somewhere. And the parent, yeah. Even on Jabba's stream, there's this one guy who keeps on tuning me. I don't know what I've done to the guy. Because he's created some like Smurf YouTube account where he just tunes people on. So he doesn't want to actually like reveal his actual name. Yeah. So he's just like hiding behind the internet, so to speak.
Well, I mean,
but yeah, I do get it.
I mean, you got to be successful to get haters. So I suppose that's it's you know, measuring stick. It's like I've got X amount of haters, therefore I must be, pretty solid.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, I don't really care that much. If people want to hate, they can hate. I'm not fair,
Technically,
so I
he's your
just
biggest
focus on
fan.
the positive.
Yeah, fair enough.
Exactly. He follows everything I do, apparently.
That's great. Send it my way too. This sounds like an excellent person to have. Let's have a Twitter fight.
Okay, so last question, Adam. Where does Adastam want to be at the end of 2017? Where do you think you can be, and where do you want to be?
Where do I want to be?
Yeah.
I want to be on a plane to Hawaii.
That's a
He wants to be on the stripper pole that is currently hidden. Yeah, I was definitely going to bring it up.
But I mean, in terms of
Uh-uh.
where your team or where you personally as a Dota player wants to be, I mean, we've obviously seen someone like Donny. He's now gone over to Europe to try his luck there. Is that ever an option for you, perhaps?
I don't. Obviously, it's not in the books this year. So this year I'm 100% focused staying locally with ex-APG. So obviously my goal and the goal is the team is to finish first, obviously at the final LAN. As for next year, I'm undecided because I'm still studying. So I should be finishing my studying mid next year or so. So only from then will I think about going overseas because I'm not going to leave for overseas midway through my studies. That's kind of throwing all your eggs in one basket, and if it doesn't work out, what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
So
You come a shoutcaster.
do you guys earn good? Do you guys earn good money? I'll think about it.
But yeah, so guys,
Right.
that has been Adastam, the new hard carry for Ecstasy when they are finally allowed to officially transfer him to their team. Otherwise, thanks very much. Enjoy the rest of your day. Bye bye.
Yeah, thanks very much. Thanks for the interview and whatnot, talking. Sweet, guys. Check you. Enjoy that.